If I had a problem, I'd be starving. I'd be hawking this watch. My championship rings, I would. I do not have a problem. I enjoy gambling.
We have Packers at Eagles in Sao Paulo, Brazil tonight. I've been to Sao Paulo. It's pretty cool. It's nice, very nice place.
Never been.
We'll probably edit this part out because flew down there and had a wild
Had a heck
week.
of a time.
A heck of a time. I got dude, you'll actually laugh at this. I like ran out of everything, so I was like a disaster. And this girl drove me to the airport.
You mean like shaving cream? You ran out of like shaving cream?
Ran out of all my toiletries, and I'm like, Where are we?" She's like, "Well, you didn't wake up." I'm like, "No, we're not at the airport. Go back to the airport. I need to go home right now." Packers at Eagles in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So this is considered an Eagles home game, and the NFL plays 17 games this year. Or they started going to 17 games last year. And I believe the NFC has the 9 home games this year. So the Eagles will only have 8. So it's kind of an interesting, tough schedule draw for them. But we bet Packers +2. And I love the Packers like for the season, but this game made me a little nervous. So, but we're fading the Eagles big time. So please tell us
Yeah,
why.
this was more of like an executive decision. I think you've talked me into a couple games this week, and I think I talked you into the Packers in this one.
Yeah.
We were just not going to bet this game. But I've seen just feels like there's a lot of,
which I think is actually a pretty good, a reasonable like baseline standard for games in London, a game in Brazil, a game in Mexico City, just games that have variables that we don't really understand. I think normally a good baseline is like, let's just not bet that game, even though it's tempting because it's on national TV. But you actually think that there's stuff in our favor from that. So go ahead.
yeah, the things I like about this game. There's already been some interviews with Eagles players, and they're just not excited about being in Brazil.
Yeah.
They've been told to just like not go out of their rooms, and there you can tell they're just like they just want to go back home. They've said it like, yeah, we just want to like play this game and go back home, and like they're not at all excited about playing this game or being in Brazil at least. And then the other cool thing that I found was they polled Brazil on all NFL teams who are their favorite teams, and the number one team are the Packers. So Brazil have more Packers fans than any other team, and they're saying the stadium's going to be like 75-80% Packer fans. So it's like a Packer home game. What?
How does that work?
I don't know. They pulled them, and it's like
Brazilians love Green Bay, Wisconsin.
I guess they're Packer fans. They like Brett Favre.
The Brazilians love cheese.
Yeah. So that I was like, oh, that's really interesting. It's going to be like all Packers fans tonight. And so, I mean, just those little things kind of pushed me over the edge. I also I'm super down on the Eagles this year. I think the way the Eagles finished last year, that's the real Eagles team. Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts to me is like the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. I just don't think he has it. A lot of people love him. A lot of people are still giving him credit for that one good season, but he looked so bad in the last like 7 games last year. They went 1-6. And I think that's like the real Jalen Hurts. And I think losing Kelsey is a big deal. The O-line has been so good, and I want to see it first. Like I'm convinced that what happened last year will carry over into this year. And I think the Packers, how they finished last year, that's who the Packers are going to be this year. They're really, really good. So I think catching points in this game, in what's supposed to be a neutral field, but really might actually be like a Packer home game. is a pretty big deal. So I think the other thing I really like, I wish we had bet it a little earlier at 2.5, because you were talking about dogs in week 1, and last year the +3 has always been such a key number, the field goal. But last year, +2 was like the biggest deal it's ever been. There were so many games that were finished at 1 or 2 points,
Yeah.
more than ever. And so the
Yeah,
two and a half is a huge deal this year.
I
I think,
believe
like you
last
said it
year,
to me,
I think last year
like the
had the
2.5
most.
is the new 3.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. I think last year had the most 1 point games in the history of the league. There was more 1 point finish
Yeah.
last year than in any season in the history of the league. And I don't think it was an outlier. I think when you add up all the new rules, I think this is just the new normal. When you add the analytics where teams go for 2 now when they're down 2 scores late, so that they're down by 6 or 8. I think when you add how good the field goal kickers all are now, and they're all good from deeper, that's a more variance in scoring. And then you add these new kickoff rules and how they protect all the players. I think this is the new normal. And yeah, that getting, if you're catching 2.5. 3 years ago, I would have said, fuck that. Fuck taking 2 or 1.5, bet the money line on as a dog. But now I've completely changed that. And I think if you're getting 1.5, pay the 10 cents and take the 1.5, 2 points. I think there's a lot of games that are gonna finish this year by 1, 2, and 3 points. Um, and that's actually my whole thing for this game, particularly, is there's just value getting 2 points with Green Bay. We think Green Bay is going to be really good. I think the Eagles are fine. Like I think they're going to have an okay season, but I don't. If you're right, I'm not going to be totally shocked. I'm fine with fading them week 1 and seeing if that's true. But I just think getting 2 here, like this game should be a pick. You're just getting 2 free points. This game should be a pick, or the Packers should be favored by like half a point or a point or something. So Packers +2. NFL kickoff continues. Friday night football.